Brothers Nachos, and welcome to Record Breakers, a music podcast where a group of friends gather together to share music with each other, an album at a time. It's like a little book club for music. Fun time had by all. I'm Petey Rave. I'm finally back home, but I've still brought a bit of Korea with me, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But here with
Petey
me
has joined the 4B movement, everybody.
It was an easy thing. I was already not dating men, not dating, sleeping with, marrying, or giving birth to children from men. So, it was an easy movement to sign up for.
It's the thought that counts.
Mm-hmm. I'm an ally. It's Pride Month, of course. Here with me is my team, my squad, my triumvirate. We've got David Majors.
Buenos tacos, muchachos. I was in Ohio, not Korea.
Mm-hmm. And Drew Snyder.
I didn't go anywhere. My fiance went to Indiana for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's summer vacation, Drew. You got to go somewhere.
We're trying to figure out what to do. We might drive the kid to Texas and then stop in Nashville for a few days.
Yeah.
We might take the kid to Pittsburgh and see some art museums.
Yeah.
We don't know yet because Amber's mom was in the hospital for like 4 days.
Oh. Well,
COPD complications.
Been there.
She got put on some oxygen. She has the oxygen tank for at least a while, and they're going to reassess. Her O2 levels were slightly low, and they wouldn't go back up. So.
Okay. All right. Well,
I wish her the best.
As we wish Amber's mom all the best in her recovery, we were going to talk about some music. We're going to talk about an album as I moisturize my hands just for no reason. We're going to talk about a band and an album that a band that I actually got to see live while I was in Korea, the Republic of. I got to see them.
Southern one.
Mm-hmm. I was in West Korea, like I like to say, and I got to see them play in a tiny little basement club in the middle of Hongdae. I got to see they're playing a really rocking show in front of an excited crowd. The band is Daddy-O Radio. And we're talking about their most recent album, Green Tattoo. Let's talk about like what were your expectations coming in? David, what did you expect when you were coming into this album?
I did not expect anything until I saw the album cover, and I found the album cover fascinating because it invoked a very specific genre from a very specific country. However, this is a quartet from South Korea, and I will talk about that a little bit later.
Mm-hmm. Drew, what did you expect coming into this album?
Well, you said Irish, and so I was expecting a certain sound, and then I saw the album cover, and I was expecting a certain sound. And then I got into it, and we'll get into whether I got that certain sound or not.
Yeah, let's talk about this album. This album musically is very much inspired by, and very much through and through, very much an attempt and a really, really cool attempt at doing a very high tempo celtic-punk sound. This is a quartet of South Korean musicians that have been around for all veterans of the game have been around. They all come from other bands. There are we have like Kim In-soo and Lee Sang-hyuk of not formerly, but I think currently, of Crying Nut. We have Angie, whose band we've talked about before on this podcast a while back. Her band Wasted Johnnies, and a few other projects, including solo work. And additionally, let's see, I have it written down. Lee Gyo-hyung on guitar. I forgot his band, but he's there killing it on guitar. And it is a very well crafted Celtic punk sound, Celtic punk album. It is the core punk sound with multiple. Kimitsu comes in with the variety of instruments to kind of fill in that sound, including the whistle and accordion and various other ones. But then at the core, you also have the great guitar work by Gyohyung, and the vocals are very like, they're very made to be sung along to. Probably easier if you know the language, but there's moments that even if you don't know, if you don't know Korean, there's even moments to sing along to, even if you don't know. There's some universal sing along moments. I didn't name a particular person in vocals. Angie is there on bass because they all sing. It's like there's it's chances for each person to take turns on lead vocals, and then there's big like choral group collective singing, like just like a big, that kind of almost feels like it's supposed to be like a big group singing at a bar, just drinking together singing. It is very much music to drink by, which is
No.
like which is very obvious, especially would you be surprised to know that when I saw them perform, the entire time they all had like they all had big old cups of draft beer in their hands on stage. And then they would get them replenished. Also,
Makes
I
sense.
did as well. So just we were
Good for you, Petey.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, these are very much like crowd pleasing sing along songs, but very well performed. To drink along to and sing along to. There's a great like tempo and catchiness to it, to the songs, and it's I feel like it keeps like a nice consistent like groove and really nice consistent style to it. But yeah, David, how would you describe this album musically?
It is very much an Irish punk album for Korean musicians. It's exactly that. It is exactly that. But listening to this album, and ironically, while Petey was in South Korea, this brought up some emotions with me with relation to South Korea and a lot of the music and art that it puts out. And when I saw this album, and I saw it in relation to a lot of music that comes out of South Korea, it reminded me of the thing that I call culture as aesthetic. And I see South Korea as the biggest example of culture as aesthetic. I personally don't love this because it feels to a certain degree a teensy weensy bit like appropriation. But I can see that maybe just being a me problem. I'm sure plenty of people who appreciate Irish punk will get a kick out of this album. I'm even saying that I enjoyed it too, but there are some surprises. That there's some guitar that might catch you off guard, even though the guitar is a little bit low in the mix. That's a demerit. But it sounds like they were recording this live, so I get it. There's some accordion. There's the occasional flute. And if you're not too careful, you might just hear a guitar solo.
Mm-hmm. Drew, how would you describe this album musically?
Well, backstory on me, I've probably said this before. In the God, how long have we been doing this? But I have a soft spot for a lot of the Irish and Celtic punk varieties. One of my first like real big concerts that wasn't like I was going to see Bo Diddley play the blues with my dad. This wasn't I was going to a metal show with my sister. This was me. This was my friends going off and seeing a show, away from my family. And it was Flogging Molly at the Tower City Amphitheater for the Rib Fest, and it was $5 to get in because it was your ticket to the Rib Fest. So the amphitheater was absolutely jam-packed with people from all over Pennsylvania and Detroit because seeing Flogging Molly even in those days for $5 was not exactly super common. So I have a soft spot for Pogues, Dropkick Murphys, Flogging Molly, Dubliners, like all that sort of stuff. And I always will. This hits all of those notes really, really well. Yeah, I don't understand the lyrics because they are not in a language that I know particularly well. But I will say that seeing the pictures that Petey did share, seeing some of the videos of their other shows, I wish I was in that basement bar. I wish to be in that mosh pit. I wish to be dancing along. It is tin whistle, it is flute, it is accordion. I usually like a little bit of mandolin, but you don't always get what you want. But that said, I think the tonality, the feeling, the changing off vocals, I think was also really, really cool. Depending on which song you get, you either got the half drunken yelling that you sometimes get with Celtic Irish punk rock, or you got some prettier vocals, but it was all done well. And I can see where David's coming from to a certain respect, but I'm biased. Anybody trying to do this type of music, I think it's a fun time. But I'm not Irish, so I can't really speak too much on it, except for one notable exception that we'll get into in the next block.
Shout out to speaking of the mosh pit, shout out to Vienna Finger of Fishing Girls for being one of the tiniest people and being the one that started the mosh pit during the radio. Just ran through the crowd like, come on, let's go, and just started just getting everyone going, which is fantastic. Yeah, let's talk about some of the key tracks as we get into this block. It starts off really well with The Way Together. It offers starts off with really great energy right off the bat. Throws you right kind of into the vibe, into the atmosphere. You hear a cycle through of all the vocals coming in through. You hear the instrumentation is really fun. The energy is really fun. And then it just hits you with a freaking shredding ass guitar solo in the middle of your Celtic punk song, which is really fantastic. And then it gets followed up by another fist pumper in Let's Go, which is just together just a perfect like just party soundtrack. Really cool, bringing in the vibes. Then you can you get a bunch of really great stuff, and then great like change in style and variety is something like Flamingo. Just because like it's just this it's entirely sung by Angie, and it's just it's hard to I don't know that I have the vocabulary to describe it, but it's a nice change in like style and sound, and it's just a nice little catchy peppy song. in the middle of it. Then you have something like Gyorodo, which is which is a really fun song, really high tempo, and one of those moments where like even if you don't speak the language, this was one of those where like you can catch this one and start singing along to this one as well. And additionally, also something like Tattoo has just a nice like it offers a really nice cross section of the sound because you get a lot of it starts off with that with Kibinsu kind of like bringing in the there was a whistle on this one or a flute on this one if I remember correctly, but then and then coming in with just a really great like fun punk song and then all the great like vocals coming in. David, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Sorry, Drew, I'm stealing your gimmick. Normally, the first track on the album is supposed to be the tone setter. The Way Together really sets the tone for the album. Let me say that again. It really sets the tone for the album. The track itself is almost a microcosm of the whole album, except for a couple of tracks here and there that are kind of a breather and kind of a change of pace. One of them being track 7, Drunken Master. It almost even dipped into country at points. There's still a little bit of accordion, and there's a harmonica solo, which is a nice surprise. Another one is track 9, I Will Live, where I believe you said her name was Angie.
Angie
is the lead vocalist, and it's a bit more of a down-tempo song. But with The Way Together, the first track, if you enjoy that track, you're gonna enjoy this album start to finish.
Drew, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
So The Way Together, even though my gimmick was stolen, I'm still doing it. The shuffle punk beat, the half drunken yelling, the tin whistle, the sort of tempo and milieu, like, oh yeah, we're getting into some Irish punk rock. Grumpy Old Men, the accordion on this was possibly my favorite accordion of the album. So special shout out to that one. And then, like I said, I also wonder sometimes, like David does, about like, okay, are we actually paying like homage? Do we actually care about the music and the history? And yes, over here, I feel like Danny Boy gets a lot of play, especially around Irish festivals and St. Patrick's Day times. I'm not 100% familiar if it does in South Korea. So having an instrumental of Danny Boy is at least like, okay, they've at least dove into something that is Irish and Irish adjacent. And at least
they know the standards.
Like, yeah, they at least have gone like, okay, what is this really? And done a little bit of homework. And as somebody who played music that was based in Jamaica and doing the same sort of things while he was playing that music, I can at least appreciate a cover like that and so going, okay, maybe they kind of get it.
Yeah, let's bring it back around the horn, talk about some conclusive thoughts. David, how would you conclude on this album as a whole?
Putting that little feeling aside, culture as aesthetic, I don't like it. Stop it, Korea. Speaking strictly on the music, it checks all the boxes. It's jaunty, it's bouncy, it's fun. It's got some sing-along stuff. It's played really well. Maybe not recorded too well, but I'm going to let that pass. And it has the occasional Easter egg musically, like a guitar solo or a harmonica or some flute. And there's a lot of accordion. It really adds a whole different, authentic musical dynamic, which I really, really appreciated. Because while this style of music is universally enjoyable because it's not that hard to get a kick out of, the fact that they were adding these extra elements like other bands in this genre do was really, really smart and really, really cool. And now that we've been talking through it, my tiny grievance has been tempered. I'm tempering my grievance with relation to this album.
Drew, what will be your conclusion on this album as a whole?
I wish I would have been there. Is my conclusion. I think as I get older, I feel like I listen to this particular style of punk rock less and less. Even though it sometimes will catch my ear, stuff like Wicked Bears and the pop punk side and things like that. But I don't have it playing in repeat because part of me still wishes that when I hear that, like this style of like fun punk rock, that I was in a dingy dive bar or in a basement, making it so that I woke up a little sore the next morning. And I just don't get that experience anymore. Just because being out of the scene, it's hard to find those places again. I'm trying. There's a band called Northern Weather I'm trying to see here pretty soon. So there's that, but they're more Midwest emo, but I digress. But it's always fun to get back to sort of what what I absolutely loved about the genre, which is you can tell these guys, they love the sound of it and they wanted to have fun doing it. So they did it and they threw caution to the wind. And I think that's pretty all right. And it was a fun time.
This is something, it's an appreciation of a style. It is really well done, fun Celtic punk sound, really done, a well done Celtic punk album. These guys have been doing music for a long time. Like one of the cool things that I hadn't realized is the fact, like I hadn't thought about it, is the two of the members are from, like I had mentioned, a band called Crying Nut. That was
Crying Nut.
Yes. We've all Crying Nut every once in a while.
Same.
That formed in the same like Hongdae clubs scenes back in '95. And are largely been credited as like kind of the pioneers of the Korean punk and indie rock scenes. So they've been doing music for about almost 30 years. Even the two of them, and the other two have been doing music for a while as well. So they have cut their teeth on this punk rock thing in general. And they just, this is something that they did, in particular, Kim In-soo had been wanting to do for a while. And as told to me by one Annie of Love Exterior when we finally got to hang out, and I had mentioned that I'd gone to see the band. She's like, "Oh yeah, In-soo had been wanting to do like that Irish punk sound for a while now." It's like, and you can see that there's like there's a passion for it and a love for it, in what they craft, and there's just a great energy, and it's a great fun time on record, especially live. So if you happen to be in South Korea and it's a great place to visit. I plan to go back in the future again in a couple of years when in maybe like another 8 years when I can afford it again.
I was say, if I had the time and money,
Yeah.
like Italy and South Korea are shortlist items. But
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. But if you happen to be, traveling or studying abroad or traveling for work, and you want to go, and you see that they're playing at a one of the great clubs in Hongdae, like either FF or Bender or Club Victim or any other places, go check them out. Yeah, you're gonna have a good time, and whoever they're playing with is probably also cool as well. And this is a fun little record, and I look forward to bringing more stuff as always from there, and because it's not gonna, I have a long history of bringing in the fun stuff, and I think I've fallen off of bringing like indie Korean stuff. I think it's been a while since brought something, so I'm gonna be seeking out to bring some more stuff. Yeah, Daddy-O Radio, really fun, really fantastic, really good time. Yeah, those are our thoughts on Daddy-O Radio's Green Tattoo. Now we get to the main event of the evening, the moment we've all been waiting for, where we get to the 575, our haiku reviews. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Haikumero numero uno. David, what is your haiku?
Before I get to my haiku, I cannot put Petey Rave over enough for making the Rebelli podcast happen while he was in another country on the other side of the world. Petey could have simply said BRB AFK for 2 weeks, and none of us would have blinked. Not me and Drew, not Kaz, not Through the Tomes.
In fact, multiple times I told him, like, hey, if this is hard, like, enjoy your trip, my dude. Like,
yeah.
And going above and beyond to keep the Rebelli content coming out. Petey, I'm giving you your flowers. I'm giving you all your flowers for just a hell of a job.
You're a rose guy or a tulip guy?
On keeping the content rolling. Hell of a job. Hell of a job.
Thank you.
My haiku. Jaunty Irish punk. In a vacuum, it's solid. This is a me thing.
Mm-hmm. Drew, what is your haiku?
Korean Irish with all of the love and luck that you would expect.
Mm-hmm. And my haiku, Joseon-Punk legends, taking on another sound and killing it too. And yeah, those are our thoughts on Daddy-O Radio, Green Tattoo. Also, one of the cool things that I pointed out that Crying Nut also performed at the 2002 FIFA World Cup, and that was like a big thing where they suddenly became a household name because of that.
Nice.
Yeah. Shout out to them. Yeah, those are our thoughts on Daddy-O Radio's Green Tattoo. We're going to have that on our Spotify playlists and our YouTube playlists. Play Record Breakers, the home game. Do your due diligence and your dude diligence. On those playlists will be on our next record. And it's provided by David. David, what have you got for us?
Petey, I've got something that I found during the recording of this very podcast. I stole Drew's gimmick. Sorry, Petey, I'm stealing yours. Just to be a giant hypocrite,
Okay.
I started Googling while we were recording, and I found something. This band is from South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
This is their 2000 album entitled Kyul, and I'm talking about Korean progressive rock band Dongyang Gosupa.
Mm-hmm. So look forward to that. But that'll be next week, and this is this week, and you could of course find us all over
I
the
literally
internet.
just found this album, everybody. Just 2 minutes ago.
Nice. You can find us all over the internet. Revelli.net for all of our podcasts. Recordbreakers.fun for specifically Record Breakers. You could, if you're over there on YouTube, come on over to Twitch, twitch.tv/RevelliTV for all of our live streams, including live recordings of our of Record Breakers in Through the Tomes. And whatever other things like our GM mode stream, and hopefully pretty soon I'm gonna ramp up some other fun streams as well. Check out all those things everywhere. Find us everywhere you find podcasts, like Spotify, and wherever else still have podcasts. I think Apple Podcasts is still a thing, hopefully. Otherwise, the feed's on the website.
I use podcasts, the default Apple app at this point. So yeah, it's still
yeah. So there's that, and if anything, the RSS feed is on the website, right there for y'all. Yeah. Do all the things, like, share, subscribe. Until next time. Hasta los huevos.
Crying nut.
Turtle.
Wait till you hear about dick punks. Annyeong. Fighting.
Crust punks smell bad enough. I don't want to know.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.